Welcome to the Co-Host Bros Podcast, where we break down everything short-term rentals, entrepreneurship, and building a profitable hospitality business. Whether you're a host, investor, or property manager, we share real strategies, real insights, and real experiences to help you scale smarter and grow faster. Let's dive in.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the sickest, sweetest, most badass podcast you've ever heard. I don't know. I just wanted to botch the intro and switch it up. My name is Matt Codd. We're the Co-Host Bros podcast. I'm here with Austin Spitzenberger. As always, today we have another fellow entrepreneur, JJ King. So what is going on, everybody?
What's up? What's up? Happy to be here.
What's up, JJ? How you doing today, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing great, doing excellent. Starting off the new year strong, and looking forward to a great 2026.
I love it, man. We're super happy and excited to have you on here. I guess just to start, for anyone that may not know about your journey and what you're all about, give us a little bit of a background of kind of your space. I mean, your journey in like the vacation rental space and kind of what you got going on today.
Yeah, for sure. So I started in the space in 2016, fresh out of college, and I studied hospitality management in college, and didn't love the kind of career trajectory that normal hospitality management folks go through. I was working long hours and weekends and all that stuff, and I was like, it would be cool to do something not in a restaurant or a hotel. And so I ended up moving to New York City and answered a Craigslist ad for Airbnb hosting. And so that's kind of how I got into it. I was doing arbitrage with some other guys in New York City. And so, I chose a different career trajectory that had me working 24/7 nights and weekends too. So still ended up being the same thing, but really fell in love with the industry there, and kind of continued on in the space. Ended up starting a company that did lead generation for vacation rental managers, and through that got linked up with Brooke at Ventori, and actually ended up joining forces there and worked at Ventori for a couple of years as their product owner. And then I had an opportunity I couldn't turn down, co-founding Beachside VR with my partner Riley. And so we did that about 3.5 years ago now. So we've built Beachside VR. It's on the Space Coast of Florida. And we've got just over 300 properties under management.
Austin, I didn't know if Austin was saying something or we didn't communicate that part.
No, I was texting you to go. I was texting you to go for it, but he wrapped up his question right now, so like just completely threw you on the spot. But that's awesome, man. I love that. And 3.5. So you guys started your business 3.5 years ago, right?
Yep, just about.
Okay, so and how many units do you manage today?
Just over 300. I think we're current count's like 315.
That's, to me, that's just like bananas. Like how I have so many questions that come to my mind. My first question is what does that math out to be like of how many properties you're onboarding per month? And I mean, you guys have to have some serious operations dialed in to be able to, I mean, I was talking to you before we hit record, and I was like, dude, like 3 or 4 properties a month is like we're in a sweet spot. Like, how the heck did you do that? That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, and I totally agree with you. Like 3 to 4 properties a month is like that's where we'd want to be normally. Is I think we're probably around like 5 or 6 properties a month right now. But what's happened is we've had a couple of these kind of like huge breaks where it was just like fire hose action, and you got to make it happen, So about a year. So about a year in, we had 100 properties, and we had a couple of kind of like big, 15 units here, 15 units there, kind of like good property owners that had multiple properties signed up. And then right after I came on full time on Beachside because it started off as somewhat of a side hustle. And when I came on full time, we ended up signing up a resort complex that had 70 units, and it was all at once. So we basically doubled overnight. We went from 100 to 170 units, just like that right there. And yeah, I mean, that was one of those where it's like I would love to have the convenience of saying, let's do 5 a month, but it just kind of all happened and fell into our lap. So great problem to have, but also one of those that will certainly test your operations and your onboarding process.
Yeah, it's almost like you're just like, we just need to say yes to this and we'll just figure it out, right?
Exactly.
I think most people would run from that. I think most people they would say they would do it, but when they're actually faced with that grizzly bear, they're going to be like, dude, we can't do this. So that's insane from even just going to like 100 units in a year. Um, so I guess that probably, if you didn't have the operations in place, that forced you like to figure it out, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that time there were. So I'll give you a little bit of background on what happened. That it's a resort community, and the on-site manager at the resort was going bankrupt, and made some bad financial decisions, and wasn't able to pay out owners, and essentially just had to shutter their doors. And so I was meeting with the owner of that company, and he said, "Are you able to take on the payroll for the staff starting on Monday?" And it was a week. I was thinking like next Monday. It was like a Wednesday or something that I was meeting with him. And he's like, no. I mean, like last Monday, like right now. Could you start right now? I was like, all right. So we, right there, just basically took over the entire operations, hired all the staff um, on site, and then started moving over the owners. And it was just like you said, we had to figure out operations right there of just tons of spreadsheets, tons of like, let's get all of this information in one place and figure out how to make it work. So definitely chaos for a couple of months there, but we ended up getting it all sorted out.
Dude, it sounds like a disaster. Like a disaster. Like you're like first like dude's going bankrupt, so now I gotta explain to all these people like, hey, by the way, he fucked you. I'm sorry. And
Yep.
then now you got all these people that are your staff, but you're like, now I got to figure out how to cut them, or I'm gonna go bankrupt, or what I'm gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So when you took that over and you took that big burden, which is insanity to me, I probably would say no too. But I mean, so what was your like first move? Like what did you do like when it came to like the staff? Like how did you save money from that and come, out on top?
It's a good question. So we just had to make sure there's different business models and different ways to operate in property management. And so they had tried a couple of different business models, and at the time I think what caused them to go bankrupt was like a guaranteed rent model. And so it was like essentially they were paying more money than they were making some months, which is a
Mhm.
recipe to go out of business. So restructuring it to a traditional property management model, saying we're taking X% of revenue and you get paid out what we make that month. I think that instantly makes for better economics. And then secondly, like all of our cleaners are in-house, and so rather than having it be um, a cleaning vendor, we're doing hourly cleaning, which works for us, especially in a resort aspect. But it's something that you do have to keep a really close eye on to make sure that profitability wise that you're getting enough cleaning fees to cover the housekeeping department, and making sure that they're spending their hours wisely, or you're cutting them if they don't have enough work that day. It's not just like you're going to get 40 hours a week no matter what, which is was definitely a bit of a awakening for some of the staff there when they realized like, oh, we actually have to be cleaning it to get paid, and we can't just be hanging out.
So you're running at like a large hotel
Yeah,
or like a
exactly.
large like casino hotel or something like that, where you have to have somebody manage those cleaners, cut the cleaners loose, and not just waste money. That's That's epic, dude. I don't know how you did that. Austin, did you have a question? You look like you were about to say something. I apologize.
Um, my question was, okay, so let's go back to like what for people listening, was it almost like a guaranteed price model where like we're gonna manage your property for $500 a month or something like that? Or like what was the flaw in their pricing? Or was it not their pricing and they just got their expenses exceeded the income that they were bringing in? Or like what was wrong with the how did you fix it, I guess? What was wrong and how'd you fix it?
Yeah, so what I think what ultimately caused their demise was it was more of like the arbitrage model, essentially. So they'd say we'll pay you $3,000 a month for your property, and we'll keep the excess of that. But the downside is like that sounds great in season, when you're making 6,000 a month on the property. But the downside is if you're making 1,000 a month in revenue some months, then you're going to be negative. So I think that was ultimately the demise, which is, as we've seen with a lot of the other arbitrage companies, the big arbitrage companies in the space. It's good when it's good, but then when it's not good, it's not good. So I think that's
Yeah,
what ultimately got them.
so these 70, let's say the 70 unit project, this is not 70 different individual owners, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, so there's
Oh,
some
okay.
owners that own a lot of the properties, right? Like, so we have one owner that owns 20 of those 70. But there are some owners that own one property there too. So
Okay.
it's a condo hotel is the way it's set up. So everybody can own an individual unit out of that. So they're all individual management agreements there.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. All right. Um, I guess so you have a business partner or partners. So what's your zone of genius? Like what's your lane? What's your area of expertise that kind of what's the value you bring to your business?
Yeah. So it's funny. So when Riley, my business partner, approached me to do this, he is a real estate investor. And so he had an 8 unit apartment complex, and um, knew that I had kind of worked in the space before, and reached out to ask me to help with all of the kind of like technology setup side of things. And so, got listed on all the OTAs, picked out a PMS, got a cleaning software, like got all these things set up. And then um, a few months down the road, it was just supposed to be Riley managing his 1 8 unit apartment complex, right? A few months down the road, he's like, "Hey, I have a cleaner. I could do this for a couple more people. Like, let's start this management company." And I was pretty burnt out at the time from doing everything in New York City, in terms of like guest comms and like all the tech stuff. So I was like, I don't want to do this again. It's a very labor intensive business. Like, not into it. And he's like, no, I'll handle like all the operation side of things. I'll handle the guest stuff. All you have to do is make sure that like our technology back end is good, and like we're running efficiently. So I was like, okay, this actually sounds like something I might be interested in. And so, when you say what do I bring to the table, I think it's the kind of like technology side of things as well as the marketing. And so we've built out a lot of different like workflows, automations, that kind of stuff that makes our team super efficient. And then, worked a lot on our web presence and being able to bring in leads organically, both on the rental traveler side and the owner side of things.
Yeah, so that's what I was. Well, I had questions about the big acquisition just with the owner's side, but I'll probably come back to that later. But so to have 315 or so units in 3.5 years, you have to be doing some heavy lead generation. So what are you doing to get that kind of lead generation? Because I mean, that big acquirement was like what, I don't know, 20% of your portfolio, but or whatnot. But what are you doing to acquire all these people? Like, how can people listening to this right now learn from you and be like, how can I get 10 listings, in the next 5 6 months, let's just say.
Yeah. So funny story. And we actually had a second condo hotel, almost almost a similar type of thing, where this one was even better, where it was one owner that owns the whole condo hotel. And so that one's another about 60, 70 units there. And we were lucky with that one in that they actually wanted to phase it out so that they could build out the units. It was a new build condo, so they wanted to be able to furnish the units and say, a couple per month. So that was another huge one that kind of got us like to that level up. But through the time, we were also doing a lot of realtor outreach, and so we'd go to real estate offices, do lunch and learns. We're lucky in our market that most of the real estate agencies don't also do short-term rentals, so they're like super excited to have somebody to refer to. And so that's a huge one is real estate referrals. And then the other one's been SEO. And from the beginning, we've focused a lot on the Google Maps. It's a little different now with Google AI, but before Google AI was around, Google Maps was like the big thing. Like if you could be on the top of Google Maps, you're going to get all of the phone calls essentially. And so we really pushed our Google business listing from the start and have always had guests leaving us reviews, which is a little bit less common. A lot of times people are super focused on just having their guests leave reviews on OTAs, but we were pushing it on Google from the start. And so that allowed us to rank highly on Google, make us look, even in the beginning, make us look a lot more legit and more professional than we were, because we had in the beginning, a couple hundred Google reviews, even though we just started the management company, because we had every guest leaving us a Google review. So, I'd say, those are kind of the two big ones. And then lastly, Austin and I were kind of chatting when we got on, but cold calling is another one. So my business partner is a monster on the phones and just loves to cold call. So I put together lists of, whole condo buildings or permit lists or whatever we can find for contact information. And then he'll just hit the phones and call as many people as he can.
Yeah, we almost need a second segment with your partner Riley, just to talk about sales related stuff. Um, but I want to go back to the Google reviews. Like we don't have that many, but like a lot, even our competitors in our market, we have the best. We have the best Google reviews and probably the most. And we only have like 100 something, like 100 ish. And I think that's low hanging fruit for me and maybe a lot of people listening to this show. So I guess like the question that comes to mind selfishly is like, how are you cultivating them? I know you asked guests to leave it. Are you just like leaving it in, the final message? Are you offering like some kind of discount? How are you incentivizing people? Because there has to be something there, right? Or I guess how are you structuring that?
So there's a couple of things. I'll tell you the first like low hanging fruit that we did before I've implemented what we do now. So the first one anybody can do is just change your review request message to also include the link to leave a review on Google. So essentially, instead of just saying, "Hey, thanks for staying with us. Please leave us a 5-star review on Airbnb," say, "Leave us a 5-star review on Airbnb and on our Google business page," and then you're actually able to link directly to the place where you can leave the review on Google. So it's like a deep link essentially. So you can link there. So when they click the link, it just opens up. They're already logged in on Google, and it opens up like a text box essentially that they put their review in. So it takes a lot of the friction out for them to leave a review. That's like the super easy low hanging fruit. And one other thing to note in that message, you said like, why would they leave a review? One of the things we say is like, we love to see pictures of your family vacation there. So like, if you go look at our Google business page, it's all like pictures too. And I think people, cause you can't leave a picture on Airbnb, right? So like, I think people kind of enjoy posting a picture of their vacation on the Google business page too. So kind of works doubly there. And then as we've progressed, my favorite thing that we do with reputation management now is we use a tool called SweetOp. I'm not sure if either one of you guys are familiar with that, but it's a guest app. And one of the features in the guest app is a checkout survey. And so when they after they check out, it'll pop up and say, how was your stay, 1 to 5 stars? If they leave anything below 5 stars, it's just an internal survey. We get a Slack notification. It's like, hey, this person left a 4-star review. you should call them and see what happened. Why wasn't it a 5-star? And so that's allowed us to kind of like catch some bad things before they go public. And then if it's a 5-star, it automatically redirects them over to our Google page, where again, it goes to that like deep link of leave your review here, so that you're not asking them to like go Google you and then put a review in and all of that.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
No,
I was
go
trying
for
to
it.
figure out, like, how do you automate it if they leave a good review on Airbnb or VRBO? Like, now I want to get them to go over there, right? But it's like, I rather take the hit, I think, on Airbnb or VRBO than take the hit on Google My Business,
Right.
because now it's like I feel like it's harsher, right? At Google My Business at that point, because other people are going to be looking at people who are going to not just want to stay here, but people who want to use us as,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
clients.
I mean,
So,
for your owners, right? If they're searching you, they're going to be looking for you on Google. And that was also one of the big reasons why I was pushing Google right when we started, was because I was terrified that somebody was going to be really pissed off at something and then go leave us a 1-star review everywhere that they could find a page. Right. And so I was like, I would much rather already have 100 5-star reviews on Google, and then somebody leaves that inevitable 1-star,
yeah.
than like worry about it when I get a 1-star and then start trying to get people to leave me better reviews. So, yeah, I mean, to that point, like that's even more of a reason to like push people. But yeah, to answer your question, you could do that. I use SweetOp, but you could do that, with any kind of like a form, essentially, where you could filter it and say, if this happens, then do that, and then if that happens, do that. I know like Tally Form is one that's a free one, and then I think I can't remember the name right now, but there's another like form brand that is super easy, that you could do if then statements on the form.
What is
Yeah, you could do. I think you could do the Google form too if you write a script for it. I do it with my onboarding form, like my services forms. Like if you have electrical, it keeps going. If you don't, it skips. Things like that. Sorry, Austin. I apologize.
no, I was
I
gonna
want to
say,
figure
how
out
do you
how to do
spell
that.
the how do you spell the software? I'm just like dropping it in our Slack channel right now. I'm like, hey, can you guys implement this?
Yeah. So it's suite, like hotel suite, and then op.
Okay, I'm just making a note for it because yeah, that's I feel like everyone should be doing that. And I like how, so basically you're saying that if they're not happy or some reason, somehow the way you have it set up, it doesn't go to Google review. Is that what you're saying? Like
Yeah,
you have it.
exactly. Only 5-star goes to Google review, and then anything else just stays
So
internal.
I'm like your business partner. Like I'm very visionary minded. So like this stuff is very important, but I'm just not the tech guy versus like you guys probably make such a good partnership. And I could be wrong. I'm just assuming here because he's maybe very visionary focused and you're like the who that is like, okay, you got these 10x visions, but who's going to actually implement this and make the wheel turn? I mean, is that kind of how it
Yeah,
works for you
it's pretty
guys or what?
close. It's not so we've read Traction. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with EOS. So we when we first started, we tried to do the traditional EOS setup, but unfortunately, I'm also not the perfect like implementer, because I'm also slightly a visionary, but my partner's like, he is the visionary, and I kind of end up being the implementer. But we don't have like, I still kind of lean a little bit more on the visionary side, but where we do complement each other well is that he's definitely the pusher, and I'm the um, figure out how to get it done type of person, and it works out well because I love getting in the weeds in the technology and like, oh, let's figure out this workflow and make this thing uh, you know work well and make
So
sure the verbiage is right and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, no. So what's something in your business as the tech ops guy, also visionary, but what is something in your business that that comes to your mind in regards to maybe tech or operations that maybe a lot of operators don't do that should be doing, or just something that you have in y'all's business that you're just super proud of?
Yeah, gosh, there's so much. I mean, over the years, it works out well because like a problem will come up or something, something. Normally, it's like a recurring problem, and we're like, how can we fix this, right? Like most of the time, it's like Riley saying like, hey, this is what's happening. We need to do something about this, and then we'll come up with a solution, whether it's like a workflow or something. But most of most of our business kind of is centralized around Slack. And I think I know a lot of people use Slack, but I think a lot of people aren't using it to its full potential, because I mean, you could use like a group text message and not have to pay the amount that you have to pay for Slack, right? But where it gets super powerful is because it's got so many integrations with other tools and API integrations as well, so that anything happens outside of Slack, you can make sure that that message gets put back in to Slack, and then the whole team can see it. And not only can they see it, but they can communicate about whatever it is. So like we've got a task management system that I've built in Airtable. And so essentially what happens is it's like anytime a guest issue comes up, right? Like say somebody guest services says, oh, the ice maker isn't working in this unit. They put a task in, it goes into Slack. They can communicate right on that Slack thread and say, okay, what are we going to do here? We're going to assign it out to this maintenance person. They can see that it got assigned to that maintenance person. They can see that it's been resolved. They can send a guest message after it's been resolved. So everybody stays in the loop. And it's really hard to do, especially if you're using, multiple tools. You have a task management tool. Maybe you've got like a cleaning tool, whatever. So like all that stuff lives in different places. But if you can tie it all together with Slack, I think that is a big opportunity there.
Have you met Sean McGregor?
Yeah. He's a huge influence for me getting into Airtable because he uses so much of I mean, his whole business is basically built on top of Airtable, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's his jam.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Because when you said Airtable, it just made me think like, okay, Sean McGregor. I'm still sitting here trying to think, like I'm listening, but I'm sitting here thinking like, how am I going to automate this every time I get a 5-star review? So I'm going to figure that out because I would like to automate. I would like to try to skip the survey and just be like, oh, it's a 5-star review. Boom, here's another message. Hey, by the way, saw your review. Thanks so much. If you could give us the same on Google or something. I don't know yet.
Well, I'm happy to help out offline too on that one because there's some other ideas that you could do for that, like using PMS automated messaging and stuff.
That's where I was going to go with it. We did something kind of like that, but like we did it for like Instagram, like tag us in your vacation photos of the property, and you could win a prize or something. And it seemed like a lot of people didn't participate, but a lot of people did participate. Because then you look and you're like, oh, why am I tagged on here? That's weird. And then you look and you're like, oh yeah, cool. They're on vacation. They're enjoying their time. Like, if they tagged you in their photos, they're having a good time. Right. So like, sweet. So that was kind of cool. And I may do that again. I really enjoyed doing that. So are you guys in like just one market or is it several different markets?
Yeah. So we're primarily, right now it's just one market. We had an opportunity, again, one of those things that just kind of falls into your lap. We had an opportunity to move into Savannah, Georgia, and had a 14 unit, like kind of boutique hotel in Savannah, Georgia, and had intentions of kind of expanding that in Savannah. And then we're like, the TAM for our market that we're in right now is so big. Like it's so much harder to do 2 markets at once than it is to just really like focus and nail your primary market. So we're back to focusing just on the Space Coast and got out of the
because
one.
If they book there, they're going to be like, where's the beach, right?
Oh, we had to change it. Yeah, we weren't operating as Beachside VR. We had to make a whole nother brand and all that. And it's like, this just seems like repetitive, It's now I have a separate website I'm maintaining and separate email account, all this kind of stuff. So it's, yeah.
How is your like with just being in like a beach market? Like, how is the seasonality for you guys? Like, what is it? Not specific numbers on your financials for say, but like, how does it look when you're making a whole bunch of money at one time and then you just go dark for? Like, how is it being 350 listings and it's in a completely seasonal market? To my understanding, it's seasonal.
Yeah, we're lucky in our market that so we're the Space Coast, and so we've got Kennedy Space Center right there. So we do have kind of like this year-round draw for people coming to see launches, and I mean we're really lucky with that because like SpaceX is doing, I think they're projected to do like 300 launches next year in Cape Canaveral. So I mean, it's like that's almost a launch a day. So like people are going to be coming trying to see launches, and like some of them are more important than others in terms of like this is the first time this rocket's going off and stuff like that. So that's that's been really cool. And then that's also kind of gotten us into the corporate housing world, which I would have never thought that we would be doing. But yeah, the corporate housing has been super interesting and something that we're still trying to crack the nut on entirely. But we work with a couple of great corporate housing providers that, sometimes we'll get 15 interns or 15 rooms rented for 3 months for interns, and stuff like that, where it's like, this is great. If we could do this all the time, this is awesome. So, that's actually helped our seasonality a lot, but you still see it on the revenue side of things, right? So it's like our occupancy stays, probably around 80% year round, but high season, we're charging triple the amount that we would be charging in low season. So low season, we're essentially just trying to get everybody, trying to get somebody in the room. Doesn't matter like what the price is, basically. So yeah, the seasonality is tough. The other interesting thing about our market that we're super blessed about is we also have Port Canaveral, which is the largest cruise port in the country by volume for vacation cruises, not for like industrial boats and stuff like that. But so that's worked out really well for us. We get people coming over, they'll come to Orlando, stay for a week, and then they'll be going out on a cruise or something and stay a random Tuesday night because their cruise is leaving Wednesday morning, So we actually, when we first started, we didn't allow for like one night stays at most properties. And as soon as we started doing that, it really helped business. So I think, kind of the learning point there is like, start looking around in your market and seeing maybe there's something that you didn't think about that's bringing people in that you could capitalize on.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think people sleep on one night stays, especially like if you're in a market where the stays, they're usually like 2-night minimum, 3-night minimums. It's like, if you're offering one night stays, like let's just say not Friday or Saturday, but throughout the week, you're the only one offering one night stays. Like, hello, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure. You only get a little pittance, you know what I mean? But you're getting one night stays. Like I was telling Austin the other day, we were talking, and I had this property that is dead season. Like 13% of the market was booked, and it's brand new property, and I couldn't get it booked. And I told him, I said, dude, I lowered the rates like a motherfucker, and I put a 5-night minimum. And I was like, and I got 2 bookings like within the 2 weeks of it. And yeah, they stayed longer and they paid a decent amount after the 5 nights added up. But if they were to stay for one night, somebody probably wouldn't be too happy with me, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's like you got to get creative sometimes, and one night stays are where it's at. And then midterms, like you're saying, like corporate housing, like people would be surprised that people want to stay in places that you would never think of for a long period of time. So like I have a beach house that's like in a market in Texas that's like not a big market, tiny market. And I have a midterm rental there now who've had there for like 3 months. I had a midterm rental there the year before for like 3 months. I continue to have midterm rentals because nobody in the market is doing midterm rentals. So it's like, they're like, you're missing out on all this guaranteed income because you're not even thinking like it could happen. Right. Yeah. So it's like, it opens your eyes, like, especially when you get that longer booking and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Like, and I've had owners be like, oh, I have to make this much money if they're going to stay for a month. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not making this much money if you're doing short-term stays last month. It's like, mm-hmm. You're going to make more money. Like, that's the thing is like, so it's wild, dude. It really is. So your market's huge. I mean, 300 and something listings in your market is gigantic. So like when do you get to the point to where you guys do switch markets? Like how much of the share do you need of that market to be able to go to a different market?
Yeah, honestly, I would say like 60%, if you get to 60% of the market, then like start looking elsewhere. But then that gets interesting too. I had a conversation with somebody and it's like, what if you had 100% of the market, right? Like, could you do it? What if you buy your competitor and so you keep their brand and so you're you, but then you also have your competitor. So there's 2 options in the market, but they're both you.
You're just both the options.
I mean, crazy, crazier things could happen, right? Like you could be 100%.
That's like what Vacasa did. They just changed the names.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think not until like at
Go ahead,
least
my
we get
bad.
to 60%. And
Yeah.
right now there's like, I think we have like 1,500 total units that we could go after kind of in our like near market without going north or south, which I would, the Space Coast is pretty big. There's probably like 3,000 total listings that would go after. So like I said, it just kind of makes us feel like we haven't scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, no, for sure. It brings me to my next thought is like, have you ever considered of, maybe doing like a merger or acquiring somebody that maybe had 50 units and they were like, hey, all these units look great to us. They would align with our portfolio and what we do, 50 condos, maybe we'll buy somebody out. Have you guys started having those conversations or,
Yeah, we're
um,
super interested. Like it is something that we're, always keeping our eye out for and seeing if we can find good partners for that. We went down the road of doing an acquisition of a long-term management company, thinking that would be, they had a couple of short-term units as well. Um, but then once we got into due diligence, it was one of those like legacy companies. Like they were running on like one of those printers from the 80s, that has the like the tear off things on the side. Forgot the name of the printers, but yeah, it was like, oh, you don't have any OTA listings for any of these short-term rental listings. Like we're gonna have to go make all new Airbnb profiles, gonna have to reshoot all of the photos because there's no photos for them. Like all this stuff where what we thought was going to be the cost actually ended up being a lot more expensive once you look into like, oh, we have to do all of this stuff. So we ended up bailing on that deal. But yeah, I love the idea of doing acquisitions. I know you guys said you had Patrick on the show, and what he's been doing with some of the smaller companies and rolling them up. I think it's genius.
yeah, I think that's what I was getting at when you said that the person that said, why not just own 100% of the market? I just thought of him and I was like, I'm sure I bet it's
Yeah.
Patrick that probably said that, but maybe I'm wrong.
This will all be yours, Simba. Like, dude, that's great. I mean, it sounds like the company you were looking to buy had too many bad processes in place.
Yeah, and I
Now
mean
where you can
that's
just
that's
make
the
it more
point of due
efficient.
diligence, right? Like you don't know until you get in there, and then you're like, oh, never mind. So,
$10. $10. I'll take it for $10.
Yeah. So JJ, what are you working on today? Like what's got you excited about the industry or within your business? You mentioned something before we hit record about something that you're working on, tech related. I can't remember what it was, but what you got going on there?
yeah, so I am. I've recently found vibe coding, and what vibe coding is essentially is like there are apps that are kind of like ChatGPT that you can talk to, but it builds you an app. So like you say, hey, I want to make a replica of Galaga, right? Like Galactica, Galaga. I sound like an
I think
idiot.
it's Galactica.
Galactica, but whatever, right? You make up the name of or you.
You weren't alive then
Yeah,
anyway.
it doesn't
No, I'm
matter.
just kidding. Yeah.
But yeah, you tell it what you want it to build, and it just builds it for you. Like it'll host it, it'll do everything. You don't have to do anything. It just makes you this app, right? So for our business, I've just been playing with a ton of ideas. It started off with a pro forma generator, and so you're able to put in hey, I have this property. Here's the address. It's this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms. Spin me up something that looks really pretty to send to an owner that says how much this property is going to generate, right? Because that's the first thing any owner wants to know is how much is my property going to generate, in the sales process. And so our team was spending, probably like 20 minutes per pro forma, but with all the realtor referrals we were doing, it was just like bogging us down because everybody, realtors send you like 5 properties at once. And they're like, hey, make me pro forma for these 5 properties and I'll, maybe the owner will buy one, maybe they won't. So, we wanted to kind of come up with a quicker way to do that. And so I built this app doing vibe coding, and it's like, it's awesome. so, um, so it's just like kind of led me to realize like what's possible. And then, so we've started building out all kinds of other things. I've got a CRM for targeting new owners that I've worked on for internally, and then working on like a internal revenue management tool as well to kind of help us set targets. So being able to say, hey, I want this property to generate $100,000. That's what we told the owner this property was going to generate. How are we pacing towards that goal? Are we on track? Are we off track? Because, it's like if you're 6 months into the year and you're way off track of that goal, like you probably should let them know sooner rather than later that like, hey, we're not looking too hot on this goal, or what can we do for the rest of the year to fix that? So yeah, but it's been really cool just messing with these tools and seeing what's possible with AI, because it's pretty crazy.
Are you going to launch this owner pro forma thing to the public, or is it in-house only? Because I'm not running them like five at a time like that, but I spend a significant amount. I don't run the performas. I have someone doing it, but it does take a significant amount of their time to put the presentation we have together. So I'm curious, are you going to put that out to the public, or is that a beachside VR in-house tool? Are you going to sell it? What you got?
Yeah,
Only for
so
Coast Bros listeners, something like
We got to
that.
have a
it's
discount code. We can put a
I actually
20% off.
yeah, I actually am doing it for free right now, believe it or not. So I just, sharing it with the industry and letting people use it. But yeah, it's called vrproforma.com. And yeah, it's totally free. It costs me a little bit of money for the API that I use to generate the it basically uses like scrape data from Airbnb to generate the comps. But yeah, it started off just as an internal tool, and then I was like, showed a couple of people, and they're, I want to use this, and I was like, well, I have to put it on a domain if you want to use it. So yeah, I put it on a domain. It's got to you set up an account and all that, but totally free for now. If it starts bankrupting me with all the API calls, I might start charging for it. But right now, it's just kind of my gift to the industry. But yeah, the other two are no plans to take them public. They're just kind of internal tools that we're building. But like I said, it's been fun, and it's always cool to see stuff that you build that like actually makes an impact on your team. It's like our revenue managers, like I'm spending all this time with all these different spreadsheets and trying to figure these things out, and being able to see him like, wow, I
So
got a lot more free time now.
you're gonna end up going the Brook route. You're gonna build up a vacation rental management company, sell it, and then you're gonna go into the tech space and you're gonna solve a problem and make 30x instead of 5 to 10x multiple. I mean, that's what it seems
Could
like. I mean,
could be. I mean, I've always loved tech. It's so much fun. It's not going to say it's easier than property management, but property management's not an easy game.
no, and the multiples in a tech company are obviously a lot harder. But I just dropped it in our Slack channel, so I'm gonna like test it out. Do you have people giving you feedback on it, or I mean, you guys are
I
obviously
would love
using it in
feedback. I
house.
mean, we're using it, and I have like there's a couple others on there that are using it. But yeah, any feedback you got, shoot it over, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to make it better. It is funny though, because it's like it's different now that there's other people using it too, and not just me. Because it's like if I break something, I'm like trying to add a new feature, and then I break it, and it's like, oh no, it's down for everybody. So that's happened
Yeah,
a
but
few
then you
times.
just say, "Well, you guys aren't paying. You guys aren't
Yeah, I
paying
know.
for
It's
this
like, how
anyway,
mad
so
can
I
you
can do
be?
whatever the hell I want."
No,
That's
that's
funny.
super cool. I mean, I got to get some of those sites from you because last app I built was on Glide, and if I don't have to do it myself, like, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
ChatGPT helped me a lot, but I mean, it's like shit.
it's crazy. So kind of background on that. My friend Michael at Renjoy was the one who turned me on to this, but it's called Lovable, is the app that you can use to kind of like make these internal apps. And it's just crazy because like 6 months ago, I started using it probably, I think it was like October maybe. So it's been like pretty quick since I've been using it so much. But probably 6 months before that, I tried a similar AI coding app, and I thought it was a scam because it was like, you make an app and it was like broken, and it's like, oh, you need more credits to fix this bug, and you put more
Yeah,
credits
it's
in, and then
annoying.
it's like, oh, this other thing broke, and you're like, okay, put more credits in. And I was like, I feel like this is some kind of like skit or something. Felt like like a Tim Robinson skit where I just kept like loading coins in there. So
It's like those bid sites. You ever seen those? Like when
yeah,
eBay came out, after eBay, it was like, oh, you can get a PlayStation for $47, and it's like you just keep buying credits, and it's like you bid, and it's like everyone's a penny, but you're spending $1 to bid,
yeah.
right? It's like, oh, by the
100%.
way,
It's the
yeah,
exact same as what I felt like the first time that I used AI coding, and then it's come so far in such a short amount of time that now it's like, no way, this is actually an app. And I mean, I'm not a developer. I know enough to like break code thinking that I know what I'm doing, but I don't actually know how to code. Um, so who knows? I mean, maybe if like a developer looks at the code base, they're like, this is the crappiest looking thing I've ever seen. But front end looks cool. So
I think, for where you're at, I think you're in a good place because I think this industry is like just blown up over the years, and there's a lot of tech problems that remain to be solved in our space because it's such a young space. I mean, compared to most industries, like when did Airbnb come out? I don't know, but not it hasn't been out that long, and there's just been so much tech advancements. And I still think like this is crazy because I think about how much time I spend putting together and running comps. And it's just like I think we're pretty good at it, but I'm as good as anyone else that's doing it manually. But there's nothing out there in the space that could just be like, hey, if we paid, $100 a month for this subscription, it would do all this for us. Like that's insane. Like you would think something like that it would exist, but it doesn't because our space is so new that people just haven't solved these problems. So I think it's awesome.
yeah. Yeah. And the reason that I built that Proforma tool as well is like there are, like you could use AirDNA to pull comps and like key data and stuff like that. But like I I wanted something that looked cool and had my brand on it. And like I didn't want to have like a big logo of somebody else's company on it too. And so that was why I made this was it's a pretty one-page PDF that has your brand colors, your logo, like all that kind of stuff. So um yeah, that was kind of the reason was like it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. Like it's for a it's for a sales thing. So you're just trying to get like a high low range and just something to look pretty that has your phone number on it. So it's like a big business card basically.
Yeah, we got a VA that's like a tech guy, and he's just a freaking he's a VA, but he's so badass, and he's just so good at this. So I just dropped it in there, and I was like, check this out, run some comps through it, give me some feedback, let me know what you think, because he's the one that puts them together for me, and if it saves him the time, like that's freeing up his time to do other things that maybe that was a problem. Like you guys were spending so much time doing this, you're like, man, we should be able to cut this time out and free up the time for my salespeople or whatever,
Yeah.
whoever's doing this stuff to actually go out and do more impactful things and let the computer do this.
Yeah, for sure.
they think the problem with that though is when you're trying to like in his, because I've done a lot of stuff like that with like scripts and things. It's like, now how much time am I going to spend to get this right so that way I don't have to do, you know what I mean, to order to streamline this process and make it way easier. How much time am I going to spend to get it done right? It's
100%,
like
man.
sometimes
I
it
I
just takes
deal with
more
that
time.
all the time of like, yeah, I could automate this or I could have a VA just do it, or it's like I've definitely gone with that a couple of times where it's like I could do this and this and this and then automate this and it's like okay, but we do this 3 times a month, like why do we need to like have this ultimate
It's your
process?
brain, dude.
Yeah.
Your brain is just trying to solve problems. It's just like, oh, is this? It's like what in Elon Musk's book. It's like like the biggest hurdle for engineers are optimizing things that shouldn't exist in the first place. Right. So
Mm,
it's like, you're like, yeah, we do this once or twice a month. Like, should we create an app for it? Probably not yet.
yeah.
But I
Yeah,
don't know.
for sure. But
Automating it is more fun though. That's the thing, is like you're
that's what
like,
I'm saying. I have so much fun.
yeah,
But yeah, I've gotten better over the years of like not trying to solve problems that don't need to be solved and just being like, yeah, maybe one employee complains about this that they have to do this thing 3 times a month. But you know what? Like it's part of the job. And just gotta leave it at that and not try and come up with this perfect ultimate solution that's probably going to change. Because I mean that's the other thing that I'm sure you guys have seen it in your business too, but um things change as you grow. Like what was a problem when you had 10 units is probably a different problem when you have 100 units. Sometimes the problem's compounded and sometimes the problem just completely changes.
Yeah.
yeah.
What you got, Matt? You got anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. So what's the ultimate goal with Beachside VR? Like what is your, do you guys have like like an ultimate plan or like a 5-year mission? Like you want the 100% of the market? Like what do you?
Yeah, no, it's funny. We've our next kind of like target is 500 units, and I think we'll get there. But it's funny. We keep going back and forth. Like, oh, we could sell. We could just cash flow. We could sell. We could cash flow. So it's like there's a lot of options out there, and who knows what'll happen in the future. But I'm super interested in consolidation that's happening in the industry right now. I think it's a really good opportunity. So we'll see, in the coming years where that goes. But for now, we're happy with just what we're building, and it's exciting. It's one of those things you wake up every morning and you get to build something cool. And so we're happy with how that's going.
As long as you wake up with the sense of purpose, which is what you're doing. So that's great. And you're making money doing it. So that's great. And then figure out what happens in the next few years. My prediction, just based on this conversation, I could be way wrong, but like I'm betting, like when we had Patrick on here, I was like, dude, you're gonna have like a HGTV show or something like that, a short-term rental TV show segment where you're running around and the guest shot bullet holes through the whatever, and he's going to be the face of it. I'm
Dude,
like, I
he would be
predicted that for
great
everybody,
on that. That's
right?
such a good call out.
So like, yeah, so like how they have the house flipping show, they have all these HGTV shows. They need like an Airbnb like show where it shows him operating his business in Joshua Tree, and then he posts stuff like on LinkedIn, like what we were talking about. Is like he has this cooking tray, and I guess the guests shot bullet holes through it. Right? You saw that? So like, why couldn't that get filmed and put on TV? And he's like, obviously he's the owner, so he's not running out to the property. But for this situation, he should be, and they're filming his reaction. How are we going to handle this and stuff? I don't know. I think it would be money. But for you, I think my prediction is like maybe like if you end up getting out of it or you sell it or you exit, you'll solve. I could feel like you can solve a good problem in the tech space. I don't know. It just seems like you're wired for it. You've got some good ideas and you're already doing it. Like kind of like Brooke, like this, like kind of like what Brooke did. But I don't know. Anyways,
Brooke is a
never know.
genius. And I think Austin just keeps making like predictions and shit. So that eventually I have to go back and he'll be like, play the clip, play the clip. Look, see, I was right. I was right.
Receipts, dude. I got my
Yeah, then I
receipts.
got to go find the clip with my limited knowledge of podcast editing. But yeah,
Totally.
so
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
your work.
like a how Simpsons has all those like crazy predictions. Have you seen that? But
Yeah.
I saw something where it was like they were analyzing like, the Simpsons actually like really good at telling the future, or is it that they make so many predictions that some of them come true? And it is the latter, where it's like only like 20% of their predictions come true, and most of those are like pretty good estimated guesses. Like they use experts and stuff that are probably going to be right on that. But yeah, it is funny where it's like if you make a bunch of predictions, one of them has to come true.
Yeah. And then you show the
But
video where like 10 of them are right. And then you're just like, oh my God, the Simpsons tell the future.
that's funny.
That's
Cool.
awesome. Dude, JJ, awesome. Super cool. You guys check out his website that I didn't write down and I meant to. So you can tell everybody the website where to find you. Oh, I got it. vrperforma.com. It's on my phone. I just signed up. But I tell everybody where they can find you. We really appreciate you coming on, man. You were super fun. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we could geek out on. So
yeah, it was great chatting. Everybody listening, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name's JJ King on LinkedIn. Pretty active there. So yeah, always happy to make industry connections. If anybody ever wants to chat, just shoot me a message. And yeah, Austin, Matt, great being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, awesome. Everybody. And with that.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Peace.